Welcome back to the Bookcase Build series. In today's episode, we're going to start gluing up the main case of the bookcase. And then while that is drying, we're going to prep our top and start chiseling out our dados in that. And we're going to make this thing, by the end of this episode, look like a bookcase. Let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna glue up the case to start. In the previous episode, we cut all of our shelves, all of our support pieces. We've cut dados, we flattened wood. We've done a lot to get up to this point. Now is the anxiety levels raise up big time in this process. So we're gonna glue these things together. We're in a race for time. As soon as we put glue in, the joints start swelling. So we're trying to get everything clamped up and stuff before that glue sets up. And because I live in Michigan and it has been raining for the past 4 days and it's gone from 50 to 19, back up to 40, down to 10, weather's been all over the place. These side pieces have bowed just a little bit towards the outside. I need to figure out a way to clamp these so I can put some center pressure on these when I'm gluing it up to bring those sides in a little bit. I think once it's dry, it's glued up, it'll be fine. It's not a huge bow, it's just maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I wanna close those up so we don't have gaps in the shelves. So I don't have clamps that deep that I can get in from the side and bring it in. So my plan is I'm gonna take this 2x4 that's 8 feet long, I'm gonna cut it in half so I have two 4-foot stringers, and I'm gonna run those on the sides and get some long clamps and come in and clamp it from the top and the bottom. And I think that would be enough to kind of put some center pressure down the middle and close all those gaps up, hopefully. Otherwise, I don't know what we're gonna do. That's my only thought right now. Ooh. Yeah, that should work. That should work. It might work. It should work. Let's do this. Glue time. All right. These we're going to use to clamp the middle 2x4s down, and then the rest of the bar clamps will be used to put pressure on the shelves themselves. All right. I think we're in a good place. Got all of our pieces lined up here, ready to go. I'm just going to put glue in the dados, get them on the sides, and then get them on the pieces as well. Let's get our glue ready. All right, so in this process, as I'm gluing everything up and I can't get my glue bottle to unscrew, so it's glued itself to the thing. Hang on. All right, well, cool. I don't have any wood glue that's any good, so I've got to run up to the store. So when I get back, I am just going to record myself, and I'm not going to talk as I'm gluing this up because I get super nervous when I do glue ups for some reason because I'm a child. Basically, I'm just putting all the parts where they go, putting glue on all of our internal parts and then our external parts, not so much that we get a ton of squeeze out. I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to run our 2x4s down the middle and clamp those up first so we can bring everything together. I'll bring my mallet around. You'll see me kind of tapping things home, adjusting shelves to get them lined up perfectly with our ends. Get it all in clamps and it'll be glued up and it'll be one solid-ish piece. well, I ain't gonna lie, that was stressful. But we have everything completely glued up in clamps, everything's square, every shelf is perfectly 30 1/4 from outside edge to outside edge. We're looking good so far. Everything closed up. I did all kinds of weird, just hillbilly engineering with 2x4s.
Well, doggy.
And clamps, and like these are these things on the side here, down here are like old pieces of molding to try to get pressure and keep this thing straight and square. Unfriggin' real how stressful that was. I hate glue ups, especially big ones like this, because everything has to go together at once. So you're like racing the clock trying to get stuff. And then like I realized things had fallen out as I was hammering one side, these bottom strips had fallen out. It was a nightmare.
Ha, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
But we got everything together. Everything is clamped up now. I probably could have trained on that or did a couple rehearsal glue ups before I did the glue up, just so that I would have been a little better with it, but whatever, it's done, it's there. It wasn't my most graceful, but you know, it's glued up and it's straight. So that's all I can ask for. Couldn't ask for anything more. It's looking great. All the gaps have closed up real nicely. You know, an occasional little hairline gap here or there, which I'm not that worried about. Once we put finish on, that'll just disappear. So I'm really, really happy with it so far. I'm gonna let this sit in clamps now for a few hours and start working on the top while I do. And then after a couple hours, we can take at least maybe the top clamps off, the middle ones. I might leave these shelf clamps on overnight, but we'll be able to get this down at least off the bench and start working on the top and get that going now. So, all right, I've been busy on the top and forgot to record everything. So what I've done so far, I've got both of the dados cut in the bottom of the top, and it's fitted to the top, or the bookcase fits nice and snug. The next thing I did was I cut a radius on this outside corner, just because the bookcase sits 4 feet high, and I don't want like kids to come across and like nail their head or something on a sharp corner. Plus, if you're hitting it or something, if you're out vacuuming or you're walking around the house or whatever, and you hit that could chip off or something. So I'm gonna round the corners. Then I'm gonna come through and put a slight chamfer around the entire top. And I think I'm gonna take my smoothing plane and come around here and just kind of round over the bottoms all the way around, just to give it that kind of soft look. So to get this radius, I legit just took my oiler can, trick from Paul Sellers, put it up here on the board, traced it out. So I'm gonna cut that out with my coping saw now, and then I'll come through with a rasp and smooth it out. All right, we got our curve in. Now I'm just going through the block plane, kind of breaking the edges off the top. Start with your end grain always. That way, if you get any tear out, when you do the long grain, it'll kind of fix it up. We're just gonna go with a really shallow set. We're gonna come in at a 45-degree angle. Once we get about half the distance between our halfway line and the side of our board, we're gonna start rounding everything. Come in here. I don't want tear out on the back. Go our line just a little bit there. All right, we're about halfway through. Now I'm going to round it. 60 grit sandpaper. That's looking good. We'll flip over to the other side, and then we'll do the front. All right, so here's the bookcase all basically put together. I still have to glue the top down, but as I'm sitting here looking at it, I like the curved radius of everything. I like the look of it. The issue I'm having is each one of these shelves has those support pieces going across. And I thought, well, okay, I could put one an inch back here as well, but it looked odd to me. So if I put it an inch back, it looked too far back. It got lost in the top because the top's coming out so much further. So an idea I'm having, which I'm debating in my head, first I was like, okay, I'll just cut one flush like that and glue it on. And that might look okay. I think that would look actually pretty good. But I'm debating, do I do that or do I notch this and put that in there and recess it in flush, but it would be notched in, and that would give a tremendous amount of support. You know, if you put something heavy on it, wouldn't bow the top. But then you would see the end grain of this piece on the outside. I don't know if I want that. So, and I don't want to see one, you know, I figured I could go halfway. I don't want to see one half lap joint onto this whole thing. You don't see any of the joinery right now. So what I think I'm going to do is just cut one flush, glue it on the top like that. As I glue this thing up, I'll just put one all the way across, and that will give it some support so that it won't bow down, because this isn't going to bow. I think it'll look fine. So that is my plan. I'm just going to cut one to fit in there nice and tight and glue it up in there when I do the glue up of the top. All right, so getting some glue on this. And now we're going to clamp it on. Some super long clamps. Flush down here. We are fully seated. Nice. All right, do the same on this side. There we go. That's seated nicely now. A bit more. All right. We are looking good. Nice, man. All right, that's it for today. It's been a long day. I think I've got 3 episodes in today. We are finally in clamps. We have a bookcase. We actually have a structured bookcase. This is cool. We're totally glued up. We're in clamps. The only thing left to do is put our plywood back on. We're gonna do that once all the glue's dried, obviously. So that'll be in the next episode. So subscribe down below and click the bell so you don't miss that one, because that's the big finale. That's the payoff, right? We're gonna go in, we're gonna put our plywood back on, and then we're gonna put some finish on this thing. We're gonna sand it all down, get some finish, and our bookcase will be complete and ready to be used. So subscribe down below, click the bell so you don't miss that one. Give me a thumbs up on this video, comment, let me know how you think this is going. I think this video was a complete disaster, to be honest. This was stressful. So all the glue ups and everything else is a mess, but we made it. We got through. We did it. Sometimes you just got to keep pushing. But with all that being said, I'll see you on the next one.